I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking about he's a box of red flags. He's not just one red flag.
A whole box.
He's the whole box. It's a big box. This is a really big box.
All right, I can't wait to get into this one. But before we do, I did want to let you all know that we are available for coaching. So if you would like a one-on-one personal coaching session to go over your situation, we are available for that. The links are in the description below.
Absolutely, easy to do, and will help you with whatever's going on for yourself. This is a wild one, okay? Okay, so I had done email coachings with this woman before, but it was over a different person a few years ago. And so they wanted to get help for this particular situation because I think it was really stressing them out. It was such unusual behavior here, okay? All right. So this is a woman that's in her early 50s and a guy who's in his early 40s. And they met in the spring of this year. She says, we messaged each other on a dating app platform for a few weeks, then continued to texting. Then we arranged to meet in a park. Initially, he said he was going back to his country, maybe in the fall. He has come to my country for a 2-year degree. He has lived there for many years. We both work in the same city. We had a nice few dates since. One weekend away of his choice, I booked us a hotel for one night there. Again, drove to his place. He rents a 1-bedroom apartment, and I have never been inside. Drove him there and back. Okay.
Red flag.
We got a little red flag here. Well, not going inside the place.
Yeah, that's true.
A little odd.
Mm-hmm.
She had to pick him up and take him home. All right. That's not too bad.
Could have been messy.
Yeah.
Could have.
These are not the flags I'm speaking about.
We're going to get there.
Yeah. We enjoyed that weekend away and there was intimacy. He then decided last minute to go to another country and ask me the evening before. Okay, so they went away for 5 days together. It's a little bit of, that's impulsive and telling somebody to come to another country, and the country's far. It's not a close country. You're not driving there. Okay, this is like probably a 10-hour flight. Okay,
Yeah, this is
maybe
a pretty
more.
big trip.
Yeah, and he asks you impulsively the day before. That's another red flag. But these aren't the flags. These are not the flags.
Still not yet.
Still not the flags.
I'm just curious what jobs they have to be able to pick up and do that. Must be nice, but...
Let's go on here. Remember, they only went away for 5 days. The holiday was a disaster. He complained about everything I did. From waking before him and putting the light on, using the bathroom. I snored one night. We ended up in the second hotel we were in for longer with me going into the adjoining room they opened up for us. Okay, so in other words, they got a second room adjoining because they couldn't even stand being in the same room together.
Wow.
Mind you, they just started dating and this is like their first weekend away.
Wow.
It gets worse.
Can I introduce you to headphones and sleeping mask? Pretty sure that's probably a total of $5 at your local pharmacy. Just saying, could have saved them some money.
Yeah, well, instead they're in adjoining rooms.
Wow. And I think also part of this issue is it sounds like they had just gotten to know each other And so going from hi, nice to meet you to now we're going on a international trip together and spending 24/7 together is quite a jump. You know, you don't get to learn these little intricacies slowly, and maybe first it's a little bit of the snoring and you're mentally, okay, I see this person snores. Next time I'm gonna account for that. This is boom, you're in the same room with one person for 5 days straight, and now you have to deal with all of those annoying things at once.
And it gets worse. His criticisms of me from the holiday. You have no life experience, no emotional intelligence, no common sense,
Okay.
selfish, and inconsiderate. These are all things that he's telling her after just a few days together. Okay, let's go on. I went no contact after returning as he was toxic and abusive. After 1 week, he reached out. Obsession with kinkiness and me dominating him, and he wants to act as a maid.
Okay. We don't kink shame around here.
He has been obsessing about going to my friend's house to act as a maid and getting paid to do a foot massage.
Okay.
He wasn't asking for much either. I'm saying that. It's a laughable amount.
Yeah.
It was like, what? This is bizarre. He is now talking about marriage, but not in a loving way, but with him as my slave, and with me totally dominating and humiliating him to crush his ego. Which is quite bizarre, because that is what he was doing to her, was humiliating with her with all these horrible things about her.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He has always been overtly kinky and sexual from the start of messaging. Not that I am. Includes requests to put his head in the toilet bowl.
Okay.
I wonder if he wants to be used as like a sponge. Uses it as
Maybe. I mean, I can see how that goes hand in hand with the degradation.
Yeah. Wants me to have sex with another guy while he is the slave. Wants me to frame him with a false accusation and call the police so he can go to jail for a short time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This is really wild.
And these are things that could have lasting repercussions for him. You know, it's one thing to explore the sexual fantasy within a container of your home, your relationship. And what anybody wants to do behind closed doors is their business. You know, but once you start getting the law involved and friends and family, other people involved, then, you know, these are harder things to revert back from. You know, there's more of an investment in a relationship if I'm introducing you to my partner who has been jailed for something that I have accused him of. You know, if there's something on his record. So the deeper that this kink is becoming or going into, then the more commitment even in the relationship there is.
And there's more. All right. Wants me to beat him up, and also my son, who's in his 20s, to do this too. So,
all right. Involving her son into this is a completely different story.
Yeah. I mean, this is just bizarre. I mean, what if she does beat him up? What if the son does, and then he calls the police on them?
That's a possibility.
Right? I mean, this guy is like...
I mean, you don't really know this person yet.
Yeah.
There has to be a building of trust for that. You know, and people, like I had said, people can have their own kinks, but there is a whole thing about being a good dom and what it means to have that kind of power over somebody in the kink space.
Yeah.
And so here he's inviting her child into this, and if this is related to his sexual satisfaction, to me it is a bizarre request to ask her son to be involved too. You know, is he consenting to this knowing that this is a kink for him, or is his mother supposed to manipulate him into this saying that, okay, this man did something wrong, help me beat him up.
Yeah.
Because there can be consent issues with that too.
I don't think he's thinking that much through, right?
Yeah.
All right. She describes his characteristics: determined, stubborn, knows what he wants and knows to get it, arrogant, controlling, manipulative, bad-tempered, self-absorbed, hypersexed, selfish, and very careful about his appearance. He's been depressed and said things like, "I wish I would not wake up," and also anxious. He has commented, "I want to be rich," as in super rich, upper class, not middle class. He says, "I'm hard to come by." I would say that's true. Mm-hmm. "And you won't find anyone like me in 100 years. Mm. I'd say that's also true.
But in 101 years, a child will be born. That is into a lot of interesting things.
He also keeps reminding me that his nationality is better than my nationality.
Okay.
She wants to know, is this a personality disorder? Is this extreme kinkiness with wanting to be dominated and humiliated by me and my friends just kinkiness? Or could this be something more sinister, such as a sexual predatory type thing, with him utilizing me to gain access to my friends' houses?
And I'm glad that she had that thought, because that is a self-protective thought, and that's also a thought in protecting her friends and her son. So I'm glad that that's something that crossed her mind. You know, is this a character who could cause harm to people that I care about?
Mm-hmm. Is there a blurring of the margins between his fantasy and reality?
Great question.
Today, he is messaging a lot about marriage. Where do we start? Is this a personality disorder?
Okay, we could start there.
What do you think?
There. We cannot diagnose. I want to make that very clear. We cannot diagnose somebody who sends us an email about somebody else. You know, that's something that he needs to work through with his clinician locally to figure out if there's something going on there. What we can say is that a lot of the traits that she mentioned, if they are over time, you know, stemming from his early adulthood and have continued throughout years, along with some other criteria, then it could qualify as a personality disorder. We already saw some grandiosity in him wanting to be super rich. Some of those things that he said, some of his general character sounded like he had this sense of superiority above others. So these are traits that you would have to consider.
Yeah.
Now, whether we do say it's a personality disorder or not, it doesn't really matter so much as if you see these traits and how they're impacting you, how they're impacting the relationship.
Yeah. This is, there's a lot of extremely unhealthy, toxic things going on here. Regardless of what you think about his sexual desires, the way he's treated her is terrible. Mm-hmm. Okay, he was emotionally abusive. I mean, you know, wanting to get the law involved into his sex life, wanting to get her family and friends. I mean, none of this is healthy. And, you know, the love bombing, you know, with talking about marriage and he's going to be the slave. I mean, this is just, so much is like this fantasy in his mind of what he thinks it'll be like. But if he was actually, you know, living that, like he might want to do it for, you know, half an hour here and there, but he's not going to really want to spend his life living as her slave.
Right, especially if he has those traits that are domineering and, you know, kind of what she was talking about. Mm-hmm. So it's hard for me to believe, too, that he would be willingly accepting the submissive role for an extended period of time.
No.
And when we're thinking about the legality of it, you know, if he's talking about marriage and wanting marriage, I'm not sure what the laws are in your country, but you are tying yourself legally to this person. And that is a level of commitment, regardless of your thoughts on marriage and the emotional side of things.
Yep. I mean, there is nothing healthy about this situation, right? Like, you know, if somebody if you find somebody that you feel a sexual chemistry with and you want to explore these kinds of kinky things with them, that's up to you. But taking it to the level of the things that he's talking about just make no sense at all. Okay, talking about marriage and living your life like this. I mean, this is some scary stuff. This is scary. This guy is scary to me.
And I love her question about, is his idea of reality and fantasy blurring together? And I would say yes. You know, when you are getting the law involved, other people involved, yes. And it is okay to explore whatever you'd like to explore in the fantasy world, but you have to realize that that is different from the real world. And you can enjoy something in the fantasy world that you actually wouldn't in the real world. You know, these are things that you have to learn for yourself and consider for yourself. I really do hope that he does receive some form of therapy to process some of these things. And I know in sex therapy that is one of the first things that they might educate him on, is the difference between fantasy and reality and what it means to get the law involved.
Yeah, I mean, look at how he's treated her, okay? The way he treated her when he should be on his best behavior when you're just starting to date and going away for the first time. But leading up to that, we got impulsively asking her to go on a trip on the other side of the country when you just met, just started hanging out. But then the criticisms. You have no life experience, no emotional intelligence, no common sense, selfish, inconsiderate. Sounds to me like he's describing himself. That's what it seems like.
It could be some projection going on there.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound like he's describing her. Based on, I mean, she's really laying things out here, you know, and being honest and sincere.
And what's concerning to me is such strong language early on. When we're already seeing contemptuous language in the beginning of a relationship, that's not a good sign. When we're talking about the 5 horsemen of the apocalypse from John Gottman, you know, those things.
He's added 7 more.
Yeah, right. He's found some more that we didn't even know existed. But we're already seeing some of those pop up, and this is the early stage. Okay.
Yeah.
So really, really, really consider what you're getting into here. And I love that you're asking questions about protecting yourself, protecting your family, protecting the people that you care about, because this is the beginning. You know, it's not very often that we see this type of behavior and it alleviates with time, or it, you know, gets, or it lessens over time.
Yeah.
Normally the requests become more and more extreme or severe.
I'm not sure how much more extreme he could get.
You'd be surprised.
He's like, run me over with the car, film it, send it to the insurance company, and then I'll say that it was my fault. And then next thing you know, you're in a lawsuit. He's loving it. He's so excited. Yeah. He's in the courtroom. He's all excited. He's like, oh, yeah, I can't wait for my lawyer to get into you today. Tell me how my lawyer's going to get you tonight. You're like, wait, what?
What is going on here?
I mean, how do you get much more extreme than this? He's saying, have your son beat me up and accuse me of something that I didn't do, and then call the police.
Yeah. And what's crazy to me here is that all of this is, you know, under the guise of kink. She's asking, is this just kinkiness? You know, there's a lot of people who are really into BDSM and super into it, and it is like an art form for them, and they are really serious about consent, about the things that make BDSM safe, and they are really about, you know, breaking down a lot of those stigmas about it. And so I'm certain that somebody in that realm would hear the story and be asking a lot of questions surrounding consent, surrounding the communication about his kinks, the communication about involving others, the repercussions of all these things. And so, you know, there's a lot to it. There can be a lot to it, and I do think that the more you educate yourself about this world, that the more you might see, okay, is this person approaching me about this kink in a healthy way, in a way that considers, you know, my safety, his own safety. Things to consider. Lots to learn about. We are not kink shaming in this video. I want to make that clear. Anybody can be into whatever they would like to be into. And there is even a lot of research about kinks and trauma. A lot of times people will have extreme kinks and you think, oh, that must be related to trauma. Sometimes, sometimes not.
I would think in this case, yes.
In this case, he's involving the law, he's involving other people, but we're also seeing other behavior. You know, if he had just said, you know, I would like to be submissive in the bedroom in these ways, and was very respectful to you in a relationship,
Yeah.
communicated really well, was respectful about, leaving your friends and family alone, that would be a completely different situation.
Exactly. When you're looking at the situation, it's clear from the get-go that he is abusive and toxic and, exhibiting a lot of behaviors of somebody with a personality disorder. Forget the sex stuff for a minute. Just look at how horribly he treated her. That's the thing that bothers me the most. I mean, if he's into that stuff and she likes it, that's fine. I've had plenty of people that are interested in BDSM or whatever kinds of stuff they're into. And, I'm fine with talking about that stuff. And, that's however you want to live your life, that's fine. But this is a whole nother level of toxicity, getting children or adult children involved, the law involved. I mean, he's already being emotionally abusive towards her. I mean, this guy is scary. I think he's got a lot of trauma. And while I don't want to say what personality disorder he may or may not be, we're not going to get into that. It doesn't matter. What matters is that this guy is exhibiting a lot of scary behavior. I feel like Margaret would be like, run.
Yeah, and I agree. There's a lot of unpredictability here. And you really need to have that sense of safety before getting into a relationship or before getting more and more involved. I can understand the appeal here. I know many of you are watching this like, what the heck? Why is this woman attracted to this man at all? Why is she even talking with him? There can be something enticing about something so chaotic. There can be something interesting that you're like, wow, this is so different. I've never thought about things in this way.
Yeah.
But bottom line is you have to keep yourself safe. Bottom line is you have to keep your family and friends safe. And I don't think in this situation that it is something that is healthy here.
This guy might be bigger than a box of red flags. He's like a storage unit full of red flags. This is... He's definitely a toilet bowl filled with red flags.
Seriously. Now, I am hoping that he can get some type of professional help for himself. But you have to remember this situation doesn't have to be your responsibility. And I would suggest that you don't let it be your responsibility.
No, I'd get away from this as soon as possible and just let it go. Because he's kind of pulling her in and luring her in with talking about marriage. And men do that a lot of times. Because for whatever reason, a lot of times it makes a woman like, oh, he wants to marry me. But okay, and then what? With
she's
this
looking
guy,
around her house. She's like, I could use a maid.
I could use a maid. The toilet is kind of dirty. Maybe his head would be a good toilet bowl brush. So, yeah, this is scary. I mean, real quick, just so you hear it again. This is how she described him. Determined, stubborn, knows what he wants and how to get it. Arrogant, controlling, manipulative, bad-tempered, self-absorbed, hypersex, selfish. I mean, and that's just some of it. So you can see why we're saying run away. Run fast. Don't look back.
And if you are watching this and you are in the process of dating, maybe you are partnered, maybe you are going through a breakup, pay attention to those red flags. Now, a lot of these questions that she's asking, I think, are very important. You want to make sure that your safety is first.
Absolutely. All right. So hopefully you found this one interesting. Of course, if you want to get our help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Coach Victoria is also available for Skype coaching.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name at the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.